Author and history professor Dr. Alan Lichtman joins us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy to be with you.
Pollsters really seem to get it wrong again, and you have these 13 keys to predict the outcomes. And boy, how have you been doing lately?
Well, I stand by my prediction, which I made last August, which is that Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. My 13 keys to the White House measure the true underlying dynamics of presidential elections. That is, the strength and performance of the party holding the White House. Imagine that. It's governing, not campaigning, that counts. But at the end of 2019, Donald Trump was looking good. It takes 6 of my 13 keys to count out the incumbent party. He was down 4. Then we got the botched response to the pandemic and to the cries for social and racial justice, which cost Trump 3 more keys. The short-term economy key, because of an election year recession, the long-term economy key, because of the negative growth, and the social unrest key. So he was down 7, 1 more than needed to predict he'd lose, and Joe Biden would become the next U.S. president. And never in the history of the United States has the incumbent party in such a sudden and dramatic fashion suffered a reversal of fortune for what looked good to a predicted defeat. Never happened before.
Well, in Trump's defense and his supporters' defense, they showed up at the polls, and a lot of people were predicting this would be a blowout. So what went wrong with these polls? How are they not measuring Trump supporters correctly?
Yeah, there's a lot that's wrong with the polls. And by the way, my advice to journalists, never again publish a horse race poll. They are leading you down the primrose path of error. Why? Number one, polls are not predictors. They are snapshots. And how do you know the snapshots have changed? You keep taking new snapshots till you hit the election. Useless. Second problem, the error margins are vastly greater than they tell you. They tell you the error margins are plus and minus 3%. That's pure statistical sampling error. That's the error you would get if you took a sample out of a big jar of green and red balls. There's a host of other errors. First of all, most people don't even talk to the pollsters. So you don't necessarily have a good sample, and you have to weight it, which is problematic. Secondly, there is respondent error. And finally, perhaps most importantly, they're only guessing at who the likely voters are. They don't know. And as you point out, the Trump supporters turned out in vastly greater numbers than the pollsters would have us believe. Yeah. So take the polls and do to them what the great British philosopher David Hume said, do to works of superstition, consign them to the flames.
Real quick, Dr. Lichtman, if Trump loses, what is the shape of the Republican Party? Do the Trump people stick with the Republican Party? Has it changed forever because of Trump?
I think it certainly has changed, at least for the foreseeable future. It's the same people. There's no influx of new Republicans. I think there's, only a couple of shifts in the Senate. They are still going to be the enablers of Donald Trump. And those old establishment, George W. Bush Republicans, the Lincoln Project Republicans, forget them. They're nowhere right now in the Republican Party. They have nothing left. But Trump.
There is
everything else is gone.
We did see some demographic shifts where a lot of Latinx people were voting for Trump, and African Americans in bigger numbers than before. So it seems like there has been some shift there.
Not in the African American community. If there are any shifts, it's well within the margin of error. Democrats do have to worry about the Latinx community. I'm not sure why, but Biden really failed to connect there, and that's a big challenge for Democrats coming up over the next 4 years. And Democrats did not do well in Senate, in House elections, and in state legislative elections.
Dr. Lichtman, we appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.